Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rowan and you're watching Rowan Reads. So in this video, I'll be showing you every single book I read this year. But before I get into every single book, I would like to give you some little stats. So I read 92 books this year. 51 of the 92 are physical copies that I own. 41 of them are books that I read digitally. Without further ado, let's get into the 92 books that I read this year. So the first book I read this year was Stuck With You by Ali Hazelwood, which is the second book in the feminist novellas. This book was so short, but I did really like it. There's really not much to say about it. I would definitely recommend reading them because I personally really liked them. And then I read Twisted Hate by Anna Huang. I love this book and I love the series and I love this author, everything about this. I think I rated this book like a 4.75 or something because there was a part, if you know, you know, that really made me angry. But aside from that, really good book. Following Twisted Hate, I then read Twisted Lies by Anna Huang. This is the last book in the Twisted series by her. This book was so good. I feel like a lot of people didn't like this book, but at the same time, I saw a lot of people who did. So I don't know. It was pretty split down the middle. But I'm definitely in the people who loved it because I think Christian Harper and Reese Larson need to fight because I can't choose between the two of them. But yeah, this follows Christian Harper and Stella Alonso. I love them both so much and I love their story. Probably one of my top reads of this year. And then a complete mood shift. I then read The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith. Once again, loved this book so much. I always feel weird rating books like this because like it follows such dark themes and dark topics, and like, you know, to be like, oh, it was 5 stars, like kind of sounds too cheery, but it really was a 5-star book for me. It was beautiful. It's such a beautiful book. Basically this follows Eden and basically the story of her life after being raped by her brother's best friend, and it's really sad, and you know, it's just a very real and raw story, but it's so good. Then after that, I read Losers Part 1 and Part 2 by Harley LaRue. These are part of the Loser series. These books are amazing. I am due for a reread for sure because I love them genuinely so much and I need to read them again and go back into that universe. And then on a bad note, after that, I unfortunately read Sweet Sugar by S.J. Tilly, and let me tell you, that book was awful. It was like a less than 2-star read. Oh my gosh. How can a woman write the most misogynistic book I've ever read in my life? I wouldn't give this book to my worst enemy to read. And then, to recover from that, I read Good Girl Bad Blood by Holly Jackson, which is the second book in the Good Girls Guide to Murder series. 5-star series, 5-star book, 5-star author. This book was so good. So good. I don't know what it is with the series. It literally has crack in it. It is a YA mystery thriller, and everything about this book is amazing. And then after that, I read Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo, which is the first book in the Shadow and Bone trilogy. This book is also very good. This was like the first like truly fantasy book I ever read, and I highly enjoyed it. I think it's a great introduction if you're trying to get into fantasy yourself. It's YA, it's very easy to understand and read. So it was the perfect little taste for me, and I will always be thankful to this series. And then after that, I read Appetite for Innocence by Lucinda Berry. This book was also very good. This was a new author for me. My friend recommended me this book. Love you, Alex. But yeah, I liked it. It was good, and I definitely like this author and want to read more from her. A lot of her books are on the much darker, like crime, not really thriller, but like it is like crime, and like this book specifically is about like girls who were like kidnapped in like a guy's basement and them trying to escape and stuff like that. Then I read Paper Planes by Jenny Wood. I don't remember a single thing about this. Literally, okay, like I do a little bit. The only thing I remember is it's an arc. I got an arc of it. It's a graphic novel, and I think it's like a queer camp romance. I don't remember a single thing, actually. And after a little break from the series, I finally read Stage and Storm by Leigh Bardugo, which is the second book in the Shadow and Bone series. Once again, very good. I didn't like this one as much as the first one, but it was still very good. And the series as a whole is a 5 stars, even if some of the individual books aren't. The next book I read is actually still in this. It's actually at the end. It's called The Tailor, which is actually just like 15 pages at the end of this book that are a side character's POV of an event that happens. But like on Goodreads, it's counted as like a separate book. And like, I'm gonna take any chance I can get to like get my little number up. So I counted it as like a whole separate book. And then, oh my gosh, and then I read Mile High by Liz Tomford, which is another top read of this year. This is the first book in the Windy City series, and I loved this book. I loved it. It's a sports romance. The guy is a hockey player. The girl, she's like their team's like private jet or private planes like flight attendant, and I love them. I love them together. I love them separately. The book is just so good and so well written. And after that, I read If You Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. Listen, this book is so sad. This book is genuinely so sad. And like every time I see like one of those little TikTok book editors and I see this in the hashtags, I'm like, you posted this with such terrible intent to ruin me. Like, that is literally so mean. Very good book. Highly recommend. It is young adult. Is it young adult though? I don't know. It's considered young adult and it's written like a young adult, but some things that happen are not very young adulty. Got a little romance break after all these fantasies. So I read Final Offer by Lauren Asher, which is the last book in the Dreamland Billionaire series. This book, once again, so good. 5-star read. Love Lauren Asher as an author in general. Love this woman like as a person. A lot of people will disagree, but I love this book. This was, I think, my favorite in the entire series. Everything about Cal and Alana's relationship and Cal's story, and just this being the ending of the series, I think it was perfect. A lot of people do not agree, but I did. And then I finally finished off the Shadow and Bone series. I read Ruin and Rising, the last book in the trilogy. This book was good. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about the ending of this series. It's like very bittersweet. It was like one of those things where it's like, we went through all of that for this, but it's also like we went through all of that for this. And it's like, I don't know. Like, there's just two ways to look at it, but I still think this series is so worth it. And I may not be like a huge fan like a lot of people, but like, it is a very good series. And you know, if you want to get into fantasy and you're a little intimidated by ACOTAR or like Throne of Glass or something, highly recommend this. And then I read This Is Where It Ends by Mariaki Ninkamp. I don't know, I think I just like butchered that name. I'm so sorry. It follows a school shooting and it's from the POV, I think 5 or 6 kids at like different points in the shooting. Some of the kids' POVs are people locked in the gym with the shooter. A POV of the sister of the shooter. There's people outside of the gym trying to get help. There's other people. It's a lot, and it was so sad, and it was also really good. A really, really good book, actually. I apparently needed a smutty little break because I read 11 Hours by Octavia Jensen, which is a little smutty novella. It was cute. It was hot. That's all I gotta say about it. Same thing with the next one. I read Serving the Senator by L.M. Mountford, and once again, sexy, hot, fast-paced. Loved it. not much to say. And then I read The Melancholy Death of Oyster Boy and Other Stories by Tim Burton. And this was actually my friend's book, and I literally read it at lunch and counted it towards my Goodreads goal because why would I not? It was a book and I read it. Sue me. So then I read Watch Me Rain by Casey Keene, which is the third book in the Emerson U series. I finally finished that series. Like, I read 1 and 2 in 2022. And then, like, quarter of the way through 2023, I was 68% through the third book. And I finally decided to finish that last little percent, and it was good. Loved it. 5-star book, 5-star series. I love Casey Keene. She's the most underrated author ever. I love her. I don't have any physical copies of her book, and I'm really upset about it because I would have a Casey Keene shrine. Also by Casey Keene, after that, I finished Emerson U, and I realized at the end of it, I didn't know what the hell it was talking about. Found out I was supposed to read a series before Emerson U called the Featherstone Academy series. So I read My Bloodline, the first book in that series, by Casey Keene. 5 stars. Oh my god. It's so good. It was so good. And then I guess I finally decided to finish A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series as well. And I read As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. This book was wild. This book is wild. Oh my gosh. Did not see that coming at all. What even happened in this book? But it was so good. 5-star. Oh my gosh. I can't, like, it's so hard not to spoil things because you just want to talk about what happened. But if you know, you know. Oh my gosh. And on top of that, you know, Holly Jackson came out with the little Good Girl's Guide to Murder novella called Killjoy. Basically, this is like takes place before any of the books. So it's like a murder mystery dinner party or like little birthday party that someone hosts or one of her friends hosted. And basically it kind of just shows that Pip had really good detective skills before the book started. And then I read Your Bloodline by Casey Keene, which is the second book in the Featherstone Academy series. Surprise, 5-star read. And then I read The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. I loved this book. It was so cute. It was fast paced. It was such an interesting concept that I had never really seen before. And I just love paranormal romances. Like, that's so cool. Like, you know, I love this book. Highly recommend it. Read it right now. It was just very cute. Like, it wasn't like a 5-star read. Like, it wasn't like life changing. But it was cute and I really liked it. Same with this one. This is Sunkissed by Casey West. Really cute little young adult book. It's literally just the average like young adult summer camp romance. The vibes were immaculate. I love this book. Once again, it wasn't like a 5-star read. It wasn't life-changing, but it was there and it was cute and sweet and I liked it. Then I read Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I love this book. This is a 5-star book for me. Yeah, this took book talk by storm. Wow, this had its fame for sure, and it still does. A lot of people still love it, still talk about it. Not as much as they did before, but very, very, very good book. I love them. I love this couple. I love this book. I love the vibes. I love the Taylor Swift references. Cool summer scene. You know what I'm talking about. Very good book. I read Saving Noah by Lucinda Berry. Mentioned her before. And this book was crazy. It grossed me out a lot. But it was a really good book. It basically follows this kid, Noah. There's no good way to put this. He was a pedophile. Like, you see him as a young kid, like, start showing signs of being a pedophile. I can't, okay? Just, yeah. It was interesting. But it was also very, like, educational. It was educational for sure because I learned a lot of stuff that, like, I didn't realize the difference between. Not sure if I wanted to know, but I know now, so. Moving on. I then read Our Bloodline by Casey Keene, which is the third book in the Featherstone Academy series. Surprise! 5-star book. I love that series. I'm telling you right now, so good. And then after that, I read The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. I hated this book so much. This is another like really bad read of my year. I think my Goodreads like rating for it is pretty high, but it's like, I'm changing it right now, telling you. This is like a 1-star book for me. Maybe 2 stars, I don't know. It just felt more like a literary fiction, and then like the plots were so predictable, but also so boring. Like it wasn't worth what I got. And like honestly, I would have preferred if the guy died, or like, you know, I'm saying that loosely, you don't know what guy I'm talking about, but like I just it was stupid. It was so dumb, and that's the only way I can put it. Then after that, I read King of Wrath by Anna Huang. This is from the King of Sin series. This book was a 6-star read. Oh my gosh. Wow. I couldn't stop giggling and like kicking my feet when I was reading this book. Like, Anna Huang did it again. She did it again. She did that. It was so good. After that, I read by Casey Keene, which is the 4th book in the Featherstone Academy series. We finally switched to a new character though. Basically, the first 3 books follow Luna Steele, and then I think the next 2 follow Luna's best friend, basically, and it follows her story. The entire Featherstone Academy series is also another reverse harem. Emerson Yu is reverse harem as well. Pretty much every Casey Keene book is reverse harem. So yeah, another 5-star book. I don't know if I said that already, probably. Then I read Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. I have such mixed feelings about this book, because did I guess the plot twist from literally the first 2 pages? Yeah. Did I also like the book? Yeah. Did I also find it disgusting and weird and every bad thing? Yeah. So I don't really know. This is a mixed feelings. Like, I feel like most people would like this, but I feel like it was one of those things where it was like, you weren't really supposed to not guess the plot twist. Like, I feel like you were supposed to know, but then it was like, there were certain things where I kept second guessing. I was like, okay, maybe that's not what happened. And then there was something that would tell me that, oh, that definitely is what happened. And it was just like a constant back and forth thing. And then finally it revealed that I was correct the whole time. And then I read Freedom, the 5th book in the Featherstone Academy series. After that, I read Fright Night by Maren Stoffels. This was so interesting, actually. I think I rated this like a 3 stars. It's like a little tiny little novella type book, but it was good. It was like it's based around what is it called, Munchausen syndrome by proxy. Basically, if you don't know what that is. So yeah, it was quite creepy. I don't know. A main plot was also them like going through this like Fright Night maze thing, and then like coming face to face with like an old person in their past life that like kind of wanted them dead. And then after that, I read Sweet Regret by Kay Bromberg. I got a arc of this book. She is so lovely. She's like so nice, and she like personally emailed about getting arc for multiple of her books already, and she's just the sweetest human. This book was so good. It's a little like a rock star, like surprise baby little trope or whatever. It was unlike anything I've ever read before. I've never seen the surprise baby trope before. And then like, I don't know, I guess the guy's reaction was just like, in the way he treated them was just beautiful, and I love him and everything about him, so yeah. Then I read King of Pride by Anna Huang, and this isn't as good as King of Wrath, but it's still a 5-star book, and I really liked it. I still like was kicking my feet and giggling. I loved the characters. Beautiful cover, beautiful book, beautiful author. I love it. I love this series so far. And then I read Mercy by Sarah Kate, which is the 4th book in the Salacious Players Club series, and 5-star book immediately. I loved it. I love Sarah Kate. I love Salacious Players Club series. Then I read The Unbecoming of Mara D by Michelle Hodkin. This is the 1st book in that little series. Wow. This concept is so crazy to me. Like the whole idea of an unreliable narrator and not knowing what to believe and what not to believe, and just all of it is so, like, it messes my head so much. It's so crazy. Very good book. 5-star series. I can't remember what each book I individually rated. I know not all of them were 5 stars. And then I read Colorblind by Sierra Mailey, which was like kind of like a random read. My friend read it and I was like, I want to read it. A little sapphic romance, because I hadn't read any so far at this point of the year. So I read it. It was super cute concept. It's like, you know, like those little TikTok POVs that were super popular, where it's like you can see like the age they're gonna die or in how many years they're gonna die or something. It was like that. So like the main character and her friend could see the age people would die. So like, you know, falling in love and stuff like that like is always hard because they know when whoever they're seeing is gonna die. So I don't want to spoil anything, but you could imagine a love story with that, and it was so cute. Plot twist was great. So yeah, after that little romance break, I went back to the series. So I read The Evolution of Mara D, which is the 2nd book, and then I read Highest Bidder by Sarah Kate, which is the 5th book in the Salacious Players Club. Didn't like this one as much. I think I rated it like a 3.5 stars or something. It was a huge age gap romance, which I honestly usually don't mind. And like, I love the guy. I love Ronan so much, and I love the girl as well. Like, I love them. I also love them together. But there was one detail about the book that I could not get behind. And I don't know like if saying it is a spoiler, so I won't say it. But if you read it, you have to know what I'm talking about. Like, that is so creepy. And then I read Unbreak Me by Reese Rivers, which was like a very short reverse harem about like a single mom who gets away from abusive ex. I think her car breaks down or something, and this guy finds her, offers her to be their like maid or something. I don't know. It was a really unrealistic concept. Obviously it's fiction, but like, it was, my only issue with it was it being too short. Like, with a reverse harem, you have to take your time with that many people and like that much baggage to unpack. It can't be that short. And that's the only thing I was mad about. And I think I rated it like a 4 stars or something. But yeah. And then I read Kiss the Sky by Krista and Becca Ritchie, which is the 1st book in the Calloway Sister series. And I am so glad I finally got around to reading that, because I had started it and had like been like halfway through it for a while. I never finished it, and I finally finished it. And it was really good. 5-star book. Love Connor and Rose so much. Still need to finish that series so bad. And then I finally finished the Mara D trilogy. This is the Retribution of Mara D. Wow, this was a 5-star book. I know that for sure. This ended wild. This whole book is wild. I keep saying that. I'm not gonna repeat it 100 times. And then I read Hani and Ishu's Guide to Fake Dating by Adiba. I don't want to butcher their name, so I'm just gonna put it on the screen. I rated that like a 4.5 stars, and it was such a good book. Oh my gosh, it was so cute. I love like the representation of both like sapphic couple and like their cultures, and then like the mixing of cultures. Like, I loved it so much, and I just love little romances like that. There's a special spot in my heart for sapphic romances specifically. That's all I gotta say. And then I reread The Summer I Turned Pretty, and annotated them. I have a whole video on it. But yeah, I reread The Summer I Turned Pretty. 5-star book, 5-star everything. I love this series so much. YA, love triangle, beach house, grew up with mother's best friend's son. So good. And then I read Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. 5-star book. 5-star book. So good. Oh my goodness. Another sapphic romance. It's a yes from me. Then I read The Bully's Dare by Adora Crooks. I don't remember a single thing about this book. Not a single thing, actually. I really wish I did, but I don't. I can't tell you anything at this moment of time. Moving on. I then read The Antihero by Sarah Kate, which is the Good Brothers' first book of the series. I got an arc of this, which was crazy. Getting an arc of one of my favorite authors' books, like new series and everything, like the greatest day of my life. The greatest day of my life. It was like, I think I rated it like a 4.75, but it was really good. And then the next 2 books I read were It's Not Summer Without You and We'll Always Have Summer. Both of them, annotated them. Once again, rereads. I just needed a little break from the first one, I guess, but then I got back on track to my original plan. And then I read The Nanny by Lana Ferguson. This book, I was so shocked. Like, wow. This book was so good. Like, another, probably one of my top reads of this year. 5-star book. It was so cute. Like, because he's a single dad. He hires a nanny, not knowing that she is an ex-cam girl that he used to watch. And, like, was her highest contributor. And, like, she had no idea he was who he was, and like vice versa and stuff. So like they eventually, you know, secrets are revealed, they realize, and it was so good. And the little girl, I am someone who loves kids and books. That's a very unpopular opinion. I literally love them. They're the cutest things. Like most of the time they're really cute, and I highly enjoy them in books. Sometimes they can be written annoyingly, but most of the time I enjoy them. So loved that book so much. And then I read Whispers in the Wind by Chase Azealia Savoy. This is actually my friend's poetry book. He is the sweetest human ever. When I saw that she had released a poetry book, I had to get it, of course. So I annotated some poems, you know, marked little Taylor Swift references and stuff. So, and then this is the moment where my TBRs really started, you know, like July, August, when I started doing my little TBR videos. So this is where they get more like physical books that I read. I then read How It Feels to Float by Helena Fox. I gave this book like a 4.75, I think. This book is so good. I love it a lot, actually. It's a literary fiction, and it was just a really cute book. It has a lot of talk about grief, you know, dealing with grief, but also like coming of age, you know, just a lot of different stuff. And I really love literary fiction books, actually, and this is one of my favorites of all time for sure. Speaking of favorites of all time, I mean, I then read Happy Place by Emily Henry, which is my favorite book of all time. This is a 10 million star read. This is above anything else I've ever read in my entire 17 years of life. This book is number one. This book is number one. Wow. Read this book. Read every single Emily Henry book to ever exist, but read this book right now. You know, right now. Right now. I love that book so much. And then I read Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. I think I rated this book like 4 stars. It was good. I liked it. It was a cute little summary thing, and I always love Colleen Hoover little like side plots in her romances. Like the plot twist and, you know, everything. I don't know. I don't really like promoting her stuff, but I did really like this book. And then the biggest shock of 2023. I read Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. I hated this book. I hated this book so much. It was agonizingly slow. I didn't like the characters. I did like Elliot, though. That's the only character I liked. I didn't like that something happened. We just brushed over it like it didn't happen. And then he was blamed for it. Like, I don't mess with stuff like that. No. I'm putting it over there. I have to keep getting the books down. Then I read The Inheritance Games and The Hawthorne Legacy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. These were back-to-back read. Once again, I don't know what I individually rated the books. 5-star series in general. Very, very good. I loved these. Like, they were so fast-paced and, like, so interesting. And, like, I love, like, riddles and puzzles and stuff like that. I always have my whole life. So reading books about them and, like, such interesting thought out concepts that, like, this author had to go through. I'm so obsessed with this series. And, you know, the little side plot of romance I highly enjoyed. And then I read The Mask by Mia Crawford. I think I had been reading so much of, like, just random stuff, like, you know, fantasies, some little, like, lighthearted romances and stuff. I just needed a good dark romance, smutty little novella, and that's what I did. It was hot. It was psycho. it was psychotic, but it was hot, and it did what it needed to do. I then finished the Inheritance Game series with the final gamut. I rated this 4.75 stars, I think, but it was really good. Once again, good series, good thing. This author is a genius, actually. So, and then unfortunately I read like 52% of Priest by Sierra Simone, and I DNF'd it. The first book I've ever DNF'd, the only book I DNF'd in 2023. First of all, it's like 350 pages of straight smut. I mean, you know, normally wouldn't complain. I read Icebreaker, so wouldn't normally complain. But it's called Priest, and that should give you enough. It was disgusting, uncomfortable, and I'm not a very religious person, but I didn't like it. I don't know, it didn't feel right. Priest tried to do what the Antihero by Sarah Kate did, and it just didn't work out. Yeah, don't read Priest by Sarah Simone, but read the Antihero by Sarah Kate, please. And then for book club, I read The Hound of the Baskervilles by Arthur Conan Doyle, which is a little Sherlock Holmes book. I don't know which number. I think it's like 15 or something. I don't know. But it was good. I think I rated it like a 4.5 stars, which is a pretty high rating. I actually really liked the book. I did listen to it on audiobook though. I'm so close to the end that I'm like getting jittery. The next book I read was Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. This was a reread. I love this book, one of my favorite books of all time, and the only reason I reread it, other than it being such a great book that I probably would have done it anyway, is my best friend Onyx, my online best friend from Canada. She sent me an annotated copy for my birthday, and I finally got around to reading it during this time. It was the greatest experience of my life. Like, seeing her little annotations is like so cute. Then I read People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. 5-star book. Every single Emily Henry book is a 5-star book for me. There's not a single flop. There's not a single flop at all. And I love it. I love them. Oh my god. And then I finally finished A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. I had been like a fourth of the way through this book for literally a year and a half before I finally finished it in 2023. And I finished it, and it was great. A 5-star book. There's literally not a single bad thing I can say about this series, this book in general. Like, not a single bad thing. And then I read All the Bright Places by Jennifer Naveen. I read the book second. I watched the movie first, read the book second, because I wasn't into reading when I originally watched the movie. So then I got the book one day. I don't know, I think I rated it 4 stars or something. Maybe less. I would never have said this if I didn't watch the movie first, but I do think the movie is better. But I also feel like you learn a lot of information you do not get to know in the movie, which makes sense because that's how it usually is. So like I like it in that aspect. And then I read Loveless by Alice Oseman. I read this book 4 stars. It was so good. Ace arrow representation, just a lot of, this was like gay, more gay. Like, not even joking. And like that's just that. It was adorable, and I love this book, and I love Alice Oseman. So, and then I read A Not So Meet Cute by Megan Quinn, which is the first book in the Kane Brothers series. This was also another 5-star book. I have so many 5-star reads this year. It's so great. That book was so good. It had me kicking my feet and giggling. I loved like the entire storyline, like the entire, from the very beginning and everything that happens to the very end. Like, it was the perfect romance book, everything I wanted and more. Possibly a 6-star read. Honestly, it was really good. And then I read The Twin by Natasha Preston. I think I gave this book like a 3.5 stars or something. If I didn't, I should have. Yeah, I don't know. I low-key kind of hated this book, kind of really liked it. I don't know. It was super easy, fast-paced and stuff. But like, what was that ending? Like, I did not read, like over 300 pages to get that ending. It was stupid and literally the dumbest thing I ever read. This is like second to Happy Place. I read Looking for Alaska by John Green. Oh my god. Where has this book been all my life? Why did I not, like, why was this the first time I ever read it? What? This book is so good. This book is so good. The show was good because I watched it after. It made me cry a lot. It made me angry. It made me sad. It made me happy. It made me all of the things it should have made me. And it was the perfect book the most perfect book besides Happy Place that I've read. So, yeah. I read Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams, which is the second book in the When in Rome series. It follows the guy in the first book's sister and the bodyguard of the girl in the first book. And it was so cute. I think I rated it like 4.75 stars. Another really great read of this year. I really liked it, actually. There's not much to say. It was cute, and the guy in this book, even the girl, I love both of them. I love both the characters. We're finally on to the last book stack. So then I read Lord of the Flies by William Golding for book club. And I rated this book 3.75 stars. It was actually low-key kind of good, and I'm so surprised. Like, I have like little annotations and stuff in here because I kind of went extra for book club because I had a lot of stuff I wanted to talk about. But I listened to this on audiobook, and then after I read it, I went on like a deep analysis search of it, and I annotated the heck out of this book. I have like full explanations and like stuff. It's crazy. I really liked it though. Like, it wasn't like a 5-star or even 4-star read, but like it was pretty close. Like, I don't know. I liked it, I guess. So, and then I read Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. This book was so good. I don't remember what I rated it, but it probably a 5 stars, honestly. I love this book. There's very few Colleen Hoover books where I genuinely did not like them. Most of them, I genuinely do like them. Like, even reading them now with my growth of book taste, like, I still really like them. I will simply say that I like this book. And then I read Hamlet by the one and only William Shakespeare. I also counted this towards my goal because I read this in my AP Lit class, and I played the Queen throughout the entire reading of it. It was like a month of reading the book, and each day we would go through, you know, the scenes or whatever, and I always played the Queen, and I'm like, I'm counting this because I read the book technically, so. And then I read Madam by Sarah Kate, which is the 6th and final book of the Salacious Players Club series that was released, and it was so bittersweet. It was a 5-star book, of course, but wow, such a great ending to the series. I had waited for that book for so long, and specifically like about that character, like it meant so much to me to get her story, and it makes me want to cry. Like, I'm not even like joking, like I'm like getting teary-eyed. But yeah, it means a lot that she wrote that character, and even the whole series means so much to me, so loved it. 5-6-star series actually. So, and then this also makes me want to cry because oh my goodness. So after a while of, you know, since I had read A Court of Mist and Fury, I did read A Court of Wings to Ruin, A Court of Frost and Starlight, and A Court of Silver Flames back to back. So I did finish what is out of the Agatar series currently, and once again, 10 million star series. This series is honestly so beautiful. It's written so beautifully. The characters, like, I am so attached to the characters, it's not even funny. Like, to read this many pages about people, like, there's no way you wouldn't get attached to them, and like everything, like I love them so much, and like I already want to reread these books, and like they're so long, and like it was just so, like, it feels so accomplishing to get through like something that's been your priority for so long, and something you've wanted to read for so long, and actually reading it and loving it as much as you do is like so relieving. And like to say that like I've read this is like such a huge accomplishment for me. And like, look at this chunky book, like I read this and I loved it. Like, that's also so important, to actually like what I read. This series has a special little tip of the tower spot in my heart. So then after that, I unfortunately read So Not Meant to Be by Megan Quinn, which is the second book in the Kane Brothers series. So I read Not So Meet Cute, loved it. Read So Not Meant to Be, hated it. 1-star read. I hated it. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I hated it. There's a very thin line between bantering and just being straight up buttholes to each other, and they were so mean. They were really mean to each other, and it wasn't a cute way, it was a disgusting way, and like a very childish, like, how are you, like, almost in your 30s way. I don't know how the same author that wrote that also wrote a Not So Meet Cute, because they were such completely different vibes. And then, on another bad note, I read Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, and I did not like it. I'm so upset about it because I wanted to like it so bad. Literally the only thing I liked was Xaden and the dragons, and Taryn, Andarna, and Sigale, and Xaden. Only thing I liked about this book. Anything else, die. That's my thoughts on that. And then I read King of Greed by Anna Huang, which is the third and the last book that's currently out in the King of Sin series by her. I think I rated this like a 4.25, 4.5. Wasn't my favorite of the 3 that are currently out. King of Wrath still on top. This was still really good. I just wish it was longer. I don't know. I felt rushed, and like it felt too much of the book was taken up by like other stuff, and then too little of the book was him groveling. And actually, I feel like no groveling was done, actually, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe I just don't remember the book that well, but I don't know. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't my favorite. And then I read Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe. 4.75, 5-star read. This book is so good. This book is so good. Oh my gosh. Sapphic romance, historical fiction. I highly recommend everyone should read this book. Like, educational, cute, but also like sad and depressing, but like, you know, like, I don't know, it was just so good. And then I read Girl in Peace. I think I rated it like a 3 stars, but yeah, I don't know, I found the main character annoying. I didn't care for the characters all that much, if I'm being honest with you. And I just found it annoying and very back and forth, and I don't know. The only word I can use is annoying, honestly. And then the next ones, I'm kind of embarrassed to even admit that I read them. So first I read Tangled and Tinsil by Trelina Pucci? Trelina Pucci? I don't even know if that's the correct pronunciation, but it looks like Poochie. I was in the mood for a Christmassy, smutty book, and that's what I got. And it was good, it was hot, it was cute, and I actually really liked it. I would kind of want more of those characters, but I don't know if there is more. I don't really know. And then I read Unhinged by Vera Valentine. Oh my god. It's like, oh, what are they called? Not a deity, but like, I don't know, there's like a certain word for it, but it's basically the door. It can also be a human, but it didn't know it could be a human because something has to happen for the door to be turned into a human. It's a smutty novella. You can take with that what you will, but I won't explain any further. And then the only book I read off my December TBR, The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I think I rated this 4 stars or like 4.5 or something. It was really good. I want to read the other 2 books as soon as possible. Probably gonna be my next reads, honestly. Yeah, I'm excited to continue this series and understand the hype, and I definitely understand it just by reading this. It was so eventful and it kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time. I really liked it. So then I read Late Bloomer by Maisie Eddings, and that was an arc that I got, and it was so good. Another sapphic romance. I highly enjoyed it, and like, it was such a surprise because, like, I don't know, arcs are always scary because it's like, it's really hit or miss with them. Like, I don't know, I've really hated some arcs that I've read, and I've really loved some arcs that I read, and this is definitely on the love side. And the last book that I read of 2023, it was an arc as well. It's called The Last Love Song by Callie Holford. A really good book as well. It was another sapphic romance. Basically, it was like a friends to lovers type thing, but it also had like a mystery in there, or like a little scavenger hunt. It was really good, and like, I don't know if it's out yet. It might be. I don't think so, actually. Yeah, that was the last book that I read. That was crazy. Cheers to 2024 being a good reading year. Thank you guys for joining me. I had a lot of fun doing this. I literally went into the nighttime. I love you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not already, and I will hopefully catch you guys in the next one.